Hello, good morning, and welcome into another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ. I'm your host, Dom Ash Mateo, with the Clover Trading family. I am joined today by an empty square box, hoping and praying that either Kyle or Huddie joins me. So we'll see what that does. It is the 21st day of May, 2024. Hope you guys are all having a great month, a great week. It's been kind of wild. We've had finally a lot of gappers. It feels like not too long ago, feels like 2 weeks ago, we didn't have gappers, we didn't have runners, and now all of a sudden we have low price stocks running like wild. We had a little run with the meme stocks in GME, AMC. We have subreddits full of apes on FFIE who think the stock's going to 500. It's a good time to be in the market, and I hope that you guys are all enjoying some fruit from that. We got William over there in the chat, Joseph, Thomas, Simon, welcome in. Welcome in. We got, what is it, 8:52, running a little late. Was hoping they'd come in, but they're not here. So we're just going to kick her off, get it going on this beautiful Tuesday in the second to last week of May. My birthday's next week, so kind of excited and sad about that as I get older and older. But we got gappers today. We got more low price stocks moving. It seems like this sector has just continued and continued. Once I pull up the charts here, we got FFIE going on an incredible run from 5 cents to $4 almost. We've had I can't remember the ticker, CRKN. We have stuff like SINT, stuff like SLNA, stuff like, we're going to have some new ones today, like MGOL and MGRX. It seems like it doesn't stop. What was the big gapper overnight? AGRI right there. If you are a 5 cent to 25 cent stock, you could be next. They might come after you and they might gap you up 50, 100, 200, who knows, maybe even 1,000%. That's just the market we're in right now. And there's been a lot to keep track of. I know I keep getting questions over in the room about how to maintain this type of watch list when you're looking for breakouts, when you're looking for first screen days, whatever it is. And the only real trick right now is to just try to narrow that focus, try to create priority of which ones you really don't want to miss, and then just be prepared to kind of go down the line and try to get a piece of everything. This is, reminiscent of 2020 and 2021, where we did have pretty much craziness every day. You had to be prepared to trade 3 or 4 stocks. Not necessarily saying everyone has to do that, but when the stocks are there, when the opportunity is there, after periods of such slowness, when the market's going through its cycles and we have periods where there's nothing and period where there's a ton, this is the time to really be prepared. And, it's a learning experience. You're not just going to be great in your first 6 months, a year at managing multiple positions, but it is something that you must learn over time, because these are the hot stretches that we really do hope and pray for as small cap traders. There is 67 of you watching right now. As that number increases, I do want to see the like count increase. Hit that thumbs up button. It's free. We appreciate it. And make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. I know that sounds like something you'd have to pay for, but if you just click that subscribe button, maybe even the notification bell, you'll have access to every time that we go live. We also post long form content every single Monday. There was just a video posted last night of my best and worst 3 trades of the year. Unfortunately, that was recorded before my FFIE losses last week, which were a bigger loss, unfortunately. But be sure to check out all of our content. It is free. It doesn't cost you a penny, and we absolutely love doing this for you. We're live every single morning, 8:45 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Wednesdays tomorrow, 9:15 a.m., where we do some live trading for you. So good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are all having a good time in here. I had to stall as long as I could for Huddie or Kyle, but I think Kyle might join. Let's get into the gappers. We got 15, 20 minutes here. Make sure that you're in the YouTube chat over there, posting tickers, posting questions, whatever you want. If we have time towards the end, have no problem getting to those, getting some questions answered for you guys. Had a great all-day webinar with those who showed up last Wednesday, where we did 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. all day long. We had FFIE was still in the 60s at that time, so kind of crazy. All of you who were part of that should have got access to the recording as well over on the Clover Trading website. And if you want access to a 3 or 4 leaf Clover subscription, head on over to clovertrading.io as well. Alrighty. Someone did ask about CTNT to kick it off, and I think I'm going to wait for Kyle for that one because that is an interesting one, but is a pump. And that's the type of crazy action you can expect. Someone also wrote MTC as well. So I'll wait for Kyle to do that. And we'll start off by getting to the gappers this morning. If I can get on over to this screen. Bada boom, bada bizang. MGOL, not crazy to see. A cheap stock from 24 cents yesterday at the close, gapping as high as 80 cents this morning. Starting to become just the norm. Which low price stock is going to go off next? I think it's funny because I feel like the last month and a half, as the gappers kind of slowed down, a lot of you asked about cheap stocks, and I continue to say the same thing. Not interested until I'm interested. Not interested until they become a theme. And they became a theme, I think, at the end of 2023 during our Boston boot camp. I remember there were some cheapies gapping. I don't remember what kicked those off. Maybe it was TTOO. But this is what I'm talking about. When you have a slew of piece of turd stocks that are 20 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents, 3 cents for a reason, and they're getting going, sometimes on no news, sometimes just because people are flocking to anything they can find that is cheap. And, ever since 2020 and 2021, when we had so many stocks run so hard off their lows, you heard us talk for a lot of 2023 into 2024. There's just a lot of cheap stocks. I think Huddie went through the data at one point, at least for the 4 leafs, about how many more stocks are under $1 in the past year than ever. And these are the target right now of your apes, of your jackals, as Huddie keeps putting it, of anything they can get their hands on where they can buy a couple thousand shares for cheap and hopefully start a movement. So MGOL, 8.15 million float out of the United States, advertising agency company. 27 minutes ago, they announced first quarter 2024 results. Don't really care to look into that, especially whenever it's earnings and you're talking about small cap stocks. All I really care about is the reaction. What does it do in reaction to those earnings, whether into it or after it? Is it going well or going poorly? And regardless, it looks like any piece of news right now for a cheap stock is going to get it going. So MGOL up this morning, 210%, has been higher this morning as well. They have 0.6 months of cash left, so the cash need is high. Looks like no warrants there. They have a small amount of February ATM still available to use. And what's the exercise price here?
Testing.
Jim Bob Cooter.
We're here.
Welcome. Sorry you have to be here.
Oh no, you're fine. We're just getting ready.
If you're over in the room, make sure to shame Huddie for sleeping this morning when he's swinging Fifi short. All right, we're talking about MGOL. I've talked a lot already. Low price stocks, obviously, is the place to be. 200% gappers. They're not stopping. MGOL looks like there's not really any dilution, but a small ATM. Earnings overnight. What does Kyle think here? MGOL. This was, I feel like, one we've seen before.
This one, well, when you were, as I was joining and you were saying it, I kept thinking you were talking about MLG.
Yeah.
MLGO. Right, which is the one that squeezed really huge last year.
With Holo.
Yeah.
Ex-China pump.
Yeah, right. MGLO, I don't believe... I mean, it might, though. When I look back at the daily chart, I don't see any one day it dumped huge. I mean, obviously there's the IPO. There's the IPO day, so that is somewhat suspicious. However, then it's never really... It hasn't done anything massively since then in terms of like a walk up or like a huge 90% down day kind of idea. So yeah, if you said there's only got a small ATM, I mean they've got 60 million volume pre-market. Sounds like that's volume that could probably chew through the ATM. But then again, if it is sketchy or China related, there's probably insiders with plenty of shares willing to sell. So I would err on the side of caution if you're long, but then I'd also err on the side of caution if you're short. There's two sides, or there's multiple indicators to each side, whichever one you take. The only thing I would worry about is if all of the sectors that were not the sectors, the sector that was going on last week with FFIE, with CRKN, with GWAV, all of them are starting to deflate, right? The sympathies were really starting to deflate yesterday. FFIE now gapping down 17%. Anyone who made money on those moves are either now losing money or they are locking in profits and then going back
to the
into
next
their
one.
whole. Yeah, onto the next one. So it's either, and I see it both ways. I see it either they're on to the next one or they're going to give it a day or two just to realize they have made some money and they should still use it and then go on the next one. I don't know how quickly they're going to jump. We could only play guessing games with that. So whether they do it over to MGLO right away, but again, something up 200%, I mean, you're asking for a lot for it to be up 300, 400%, but it's also not out of the ordinary. So something to consider. Essentially what I'm saying is I don't know either way. Just be careful either way.
Yeah. As far as day ones go, this late into the kind of move that I feel like altogether they've been quite tricky on day ones. You have some that have just been gapping out of nowhere, like MGOL here, where unless you just decided to buy every low price stock in the market and say a prayer for the next week, you're probably not catching them early. I remember like CRKN, it had a day where it looked like it was going to do something. Then it had a pause day before having its big run. I think SLNA was the same thing where, unless you're just sitting in them, they're kind of tough plays. That was that one. So for me, I have not really participated besides the SLNA on that one day when we were having the all day webinar where it was doing massive volume. It was a multi-month breakout. I haven't really participated a lot long because there hasn't been a clear path each day to which one to be buying. And I'm just not the best overnight long guy when it comes to buying momentum. I don't even have the right ticker up, but so especially here on day ones when they're already up 200%, I'm going to kind of let them live their life. I'd rather hope and pray that they push into the $2 plus area just because then they become so much more kind of A plus to the short side because they probably don't deserve to be up there. And if there is clear sympathies today into the close and some look like they're going to gap, maybe that's where my attention goes in the afternoon. But right out of the gate in the morning, I don't really want to short a 60, 70 cent stock on day one. Probably will leave it alone. I'm sure Huddie might be interested in it. But for me, it's more of just continuing to wait for daily charts to develop because I don't really want to just anticipate and just guess that they're all going to go to the moon, as they say. The next one that's in what?
Just the funniest, it's like the way you said that. It was talking about I don't know, children, to the moon, as those youngsters
as
say.
those kids are saying out there with their apes and other animals. Their kittens.
Oh god.
MGRX, other one up around 100% right now, kind of in the same realm. Looks like volume has trickled into it over the last few days, but it hasn't really had that one explosion day. Here at 8:30 a.m. kind of goes from 24 cents to 80 cents. Is that the exact same price range as the last one?
Roughly.
MGRX. Let's see if anything's going on there. If I can take you with me over to Dilution Tracker.
It's fading pretty hard pre-market here.
Yeah, kind of a late runner here. Not doing a great job of sustaining. 34 minutes ago, 8:30 a.m. Mango RX. This is one we've definitely seen before. Mango Ceuticals. Introduced oral semaglutide and tirzepatide in response to increasing patient demand for GLP-1 medications. They also did earnings, it looks like 4 days ago. And they granted an extension 20 days ago to meet the minimum bid requirement. So kind of nothing happened with their earnings. And then here after this news with tirzepatides and ermalides, it is moving a little bit this morning as Jim Bob says, kind of fading a bit. We'll see if it can kind of hold around the 50 cent area or not. Kind of interesting. Got two stocks here leading the Gap City with MGRX and MGOL doing pretty much the same price range this morning. Cash need as well. Need is high. 2.5 months of cash left. They have a priced S1 offering at 30 cents. $10 million from December 2023. They have warrants exercisable at 26 cents, which is just above where it closed yesterday. Maybe that's kind of what it ran into the other day, the problem with it, because it was in that 26 to 30 cent area. Dollar warrants, 40-cent warrants, or convertible preferred. So some stuff going on here. Let's take a look at the chat. Pulling back, trying to hold 50 cents here right now. Pretty much the exact same analysis. So if you just watch what I just said about MGOL, I'm probably going to say the same thing about MGRX in terms of My interest level this morning, it's a top left to bottom right daily chart. Every time it gets volume, it seems to fade and make new lows. I wouldn't anticipate anything different until one of them does. So I'm not just going to sit here and buy stuff up pre-market and say a prayer and a hope that we get the 2, 3, 400% mover on the day. And I'm not interested in shorting a 50-cent stock on day one for the most part.
I would agree. No new thoughts on MGRX. If anything, I think I mean, from just pre-market action, I'm a little more bearish just because it's yet to hold any really levels. It's just kind of pretty much since the spike, it's done nothing but actually just downtrend and fade. So that makes me think it just doesn't have as much strength and could just continue to do that. However, it's also kind of too low price for me where I don't really care to short something at 50 cents and try to cover it 40 or 30 cents. It depends because I mean CKRN the last couple of days I've done pretty well with it, but that's been lower priced. But that's just because the range is huge given the fact that it's a sympathy to FFIE. But with MGRX here being it's sole alone gapper, so to speak, I just don't care to play with the range here. So
wonderful. Let's make sure that you guys are hitting the like button. So you're not actually. So I need 10 to 15 more likes right now. It's free. It's simple. It's easy. The market's booming. You're here probably to listen to what we're talking about with the small price stocks. So hit that like button. Make us feel good and gooey inside, like that cookie. You remember the big cookies in high school? Did you have those where they were like $1 and we had them. You ate them with a fork. Oh, they were gooey.
I don't remember those.
You had them. Just say yeah.
Yeah, I had those. I remember those.
You had them. Okay, let's do one thing before we go to the last gap. We'll talk about GTBP in a second. Two questions they're kind of asking about. Are you able to talk about what happened on CTNT? And then another preface was MTC. I love hearing these questions, and I love having Kyle here to do it because it feels like every month or two we have to explain the same thing. And I love doing it because I like educating you guys on the disastrous world of pumps and how scary they can be. So why don't you start with MTC and how easy they all are, and then talk to me about CTNT, which shows the other side of that coin.
Yeah. To segue to that, as I think Dom can agree. As teachers, we are reminded how often we have to, like, when I was in like third grade, I always realized. That,
you're going that far back.
We're going back far back. But, like your third grade teacher has to do the same thing pretty much every year, right?
Yep.
The same subjects, the same curriculum, the same order, etc. I think that's one thing I've learned as a teacher, obviously now doing it with stock trading, is that there's no year. It's not like I'm teaching and saying the same things every year. It's whenever someone new pops up and I immediately realize they're new because they say something like yesterday. Someone was in the chat. I'm not bashing them. I'm actually thankful they asked. They were like, they saw MTC and they're like, oh my gosh, what an easy fade. That's incredible. And me and like a couple other people in the chat were like, wouldn't you love that? And I pretty much just said, like, no, that's a China pump. That's a China liquidation. That's the easiest looking China liquidation I've seen in years. That's not how they work anymore. Don't be fooled, right? And then literally 2 or 3 hours later, CTNT not only dumped, whatever, 50, 60%, but then actually went back up, and now it was up like 100% after hours. And it was like a perfect just 1-2 punch of like, this is how they make you think they are at MTC. And this is how they actually screw you over, CTNT or CTNT. So like, yeah, I am at the point where I just don't care to almost touch them at all. I keep track of them. I watch them. I know they exist. I know where they're there. But like MTC, I didn't even think about borrowing shares. CTNT, I didn't even think about borrowing shares. I've just gotten over them to the point where like they're just not worth it. And so if you're a beginning trader even questioning it, I could promise you, just don't. Like, seriously, like, just do not care. I promise you there's millions of other ways to make money incredibly safer in the market. I'm not saying maybe don't test it out. I'm sure like, again, I say all the time, and sometimes I go back and touch the fire. Like, I'm not perfect and I'm human. But like, it's just, if you can have the discipline to stay away from them, I promise you 99.9% of you are going to be better off just not doing it. They're just too, they're frankly illegal. The fact that they keep going on is incredible. The SEC is over here doing everything but regulating them. But yeah, that's my spiel on them. So
yeah. And any tips and tricks to recognizing them before they happen? I think this is also the importance of like, I'm not going to pump our room or anything. Just like Kyle is a specialist. I did this all of 2022 trading these type of stocks. We are very familiar with them. Laptop Legends in the room, and he can spot them from a mile away. It's funky action. They're not your normal. I think I said that about MTC. I think we talked about in this gap day back on like 5/7/24. I'm just like, I don't think I'm going near that with a 10-foot pole. Like, just there are some indications that things are different and weird and thin, and I think a lot of people just think that it's free money or the breakouts, like they should be trading. Like yesterday, where was MTC in the pre-market? It was up near that breakout level, right? Going up towards 16. Yep. You know, they make you think it's the strongest stock in the market. And then what? 15 minutes into the game, they halted up, and then it's they turn on that TWAP or whatever. The liquidation. It goes from 11 to 1. And the alternative to that is they did the same thing pretty much on CTNT. They showed you their hand in the same way. They dump it from 10 to 3, and then all of a sudden, I think Laptop was saying in the room there was halt indications that were very scary numbers. Up, I think he said like $20 a share at the first, and like 100 or really scary numbers if you're short. And these are the only type of stocks. What was the one that just did it? ZJYL?
Yeah, ZJYL did it a few months ago.
And it just shows you the scariness of these things. Where did that one end up opening?
ZJYL panicked from like 25 down to 11. I shorted at 11. Okay, guys? So I literally shorted the bottom thinking it wasn't the bottom. Then I quickly realized it was the bottom. I had like 200 or 300 shares. I covered those 200 or 300 shares as quickly as I could at like 23, 24. It halted up again. It opened up at 500.
Okay, in after hours. Yep.
In after hours.
Very similar to CTNT. I think CTNT was halted into after hours.
I think so too, and then it ran. But like, so that 200 or 300 share short position from 11 would have lost me over 100 grand at 500. Like just even when you think a small amount of size is safe, still safe, it's not. It just isn't. That was like the last pinnacle point for me of like, holy crap, like screw these things, man. These things suck.
And the end result on CTNT is the same thing. It's down in the 7 spirit, down 50% from 15, and it went to 45 in after hours. It's just a crapshoot. It's scary, and if you spend a year trading them, you'll probably be done after that year, even if you make some good money, because they are just dangerous. And the one time you're short 200 shares and you see the indication at 300, that feeling in your stomach, you'll never want it again. So that's CTNT and MTC. No interest there for me. I doubt Kyle as well. I think he would rather have gap ups on volume if he wanted to short them.
Yes.
And then the last one, talk about GTBP, gapping up 80% this morning after kind of a doji day yesterday where it just kind of went up, went down, went sideways. I think they did earnings yesterday. We talked about this one on the show. I think it was the biggest gapper of the day. And here we are, up almost a doubler in pre-market. Did it just start to get going? It did here into 8, 9 o'clock. I saw it on a Moon Market video last night talking about how he alerted it yesterday and how you should be watching it for today. So I wonder if it just started to get bid up this morning. But up in the 14s and 15s this morning. Any thoughts on this one? Is this an overextended gap up for you?
Yes and no. I mean, usually day 2 gappers are pretty solid because it's only the odds of day 1, but even more extended. However, I don't know why. Something about the way it moves, something about maybe how it moved yesterday. I'm not a big fan here. It probably dies, but I just don't like it. I don't know. Yesterday, I didn't like it too much. The fact that it's up on earnings makes it somewhat of an earnings winner. Like, at least the sentiment around it being an earnings winner is here. As I say, it is dropping pretty hard now, so that's kind of cool. But I don't know. Something about it I don't love. And that's probably an offering. That's got to be an offering. This has got to be an offering. Something bad news just came out. That's dropping too hard. Let's see. There's an offering. There you go. Well, there you go. I don't have to trade it at all. It's dead. I'm not going to chase it.
How'd you find it that fast?
I see someone in a room mentioning it, but also too when something drops from 13 to 10 in 10 seconds. I mean, I gotta assume it's offering.
And there's right on the day.
Perfect timing, guys. Look at us. Just right when we talk about it, they hear us.
3.2 million registered. So the answer to my question, were you interested in short? I meant like in the next 30 seconds, did you want to short it?
Well, there you go. I guess I didn't listen.
I was trying to give you a hint.
Yeah.
740,000 shares of the company's common stock at a purchase price of $4.35 at the market under NASDAQ rules.
There you go. Goodbye. Say wave goodbye, GTP or GTBP. There it goes.
I think you're going to start to see a lot more of this right now as we hit the backside of this Ape City time frame. Wish it had happened on FFIE. You saw it yesterday with GWAV, where they did, I don't know if it was earnings mixed with an offering right in the after hours.
Yeah, GWAV's offering is really bad.
At like 5 cents, isn't it?
It's at 5 cents, and it's adjustable post reverse split. So if they do a reverse split, which they will, it's at 6 cents. That offering will adjust to either A, reflect a new lower price or just a low enough price even after the split to continue diluting. So pretty interesting. I have not seen that before. That it already pre-splits with a split versus it's splitting and then they have to like renegotiate the terms. So pretty ugly out there.
But you definitely see this on the backside of momentum because you get as fast as these low price stocks get going and you start to see momentum in them. I try to remind everyone. I was on a golf trip over the weekend. There was quite a few people who were like interested in like trading all of a sudden at these low price stocks, and I'm like, it's a 3 cent stock. It's not a dollar stock anymore. It's still value. It's a 3 cent stock. Like they're 3 cents for a reason. And you're going to see it. And even though these moves are crazy, they're insane. There's a ton of opportunity on them. When, the last chair is available in the game of musical chairs, these companies will do anything they can to make some money off these runs because they'd be stupid not to. And we'll see if we see more of that. But let's take a back look real quick. GTBP hovering right around green, red. That was fast. There's probably a lot of people who were in from 6, 7, 8 up at 14s feeling pretty good today. Right. That is stock trading. But all right, everybody. Kyle, do you want to let them know about our upcoming virtual boot camp? I put a link in the description as well, and then we'll get on out of here.
Yes. What is it? June 22nd to the 24th. Going to be our first online boot camp. I'm sure you've heard me say it before, but our most oftenly asked question when we do an in-person boot camp is there an online version? We've always said no. We want to keep either it solely in person or solely online. So here is our first, attempt at pleasing people who just don't like to travel, which we totally understand. It's a lot of work and energy and time. First all online boot camp, June 22nd through 24th. We are finalizing the guest speakers, including obviously myself, Dom, and Huddie as well, in the next week or so here. So it'll be like the traditional boot camp. It's going to be all day Saturday speeches, all day Sunday speeches, and then Monday live trading. So if you were at the all day webinar last week, which is really great, a lot of people showed up. It was a great turnout and got some good feedback, which we love. We'll pretty much be doing that almost like again on Monday. It might only be a half day if it's a slow day and there's just not much going on. But if we're around and we usually enjoy doing them like we do, we'll obviously be trading most of the day, if not all day Monday. So yeah, get your tickets, early birds.
Yeah, and I think this will just hopefully, help all those people that don't want to travel. They have families that can't travel, don't want to afford or spend money on the travel. I know boot camps get expensive, and we don't really ever make a lot of money on them, if any, because we try to make them the best for you guys as possible. So to have 3 days to do the same format, guest speaker series, our speakers and presentations, as well as roundtables, live trading for a fraction of the cost, no flights, no hotels. No cocktail hours, unfortunately, but should be a good time here next month in June. Hopefully the market continues to roar, but we will be Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it'll be the same format, a lot of fun. Check it out over at clovertrade.io, link in the description. And, stay up to date with our socials if you want to know who's going to be there in terms of guest speakers. We try to get the best for you guys, get a different perspective than the way we think. We've had, people like Nate Michaud, Jack Kellogg, Sang Lucci at times talking about options. So a whole lot of different perspectives for a fraction of the cost and the same type of format. So looking forward to that. And then after that, hopefully we will have a live boot camp ready to go for you guys. And we're thinking West Coast for all you West Coasters. Kyle, it makes Kyle happy. But we will see you guys. We went a little long today, but that's okay. A lot to talk about, a lot of stuff moving. We will see you 9:15 a.m. tomorrow right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel for some live trading. Kyle's going into a live webinar right now with all our 4-leaf clovers. So going to be a jam-packed week. And I'm sure there'll be a lot more to talk about as the week goes on. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you first thing tomorrow morning. And all you 3 and 4 leaves clovers, we will see you in the room right now.
Peace.